Now, here's the hosts of Top Story, KLIXcast and Jill Skeen.
Good morning and welcome to Top Story. 7360300 is the number to call. I want to thank Benito Baeza for setting in for Jill. Oh, wait a minute. Who's that person sitting in Jill's seat? It's not Benito.
No, Kelly, it's me. Hurry up.
It's Jill.
10 o'clock, I have to be somewhere. They're legalizing gay marriage. So anyway,
Oh, yeah, right. Does Tom know about this?
Yeah. I'm back. Have we heard a collective groan out in the Magic Valley right now? Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you're back, Jill, even if nobody else is.
I don't care. We actually went to Hilton Head, South Carolina.
Oh, my
mom's
goodness.
sister and her husband live there, and I haven't seen them. My Uncle Roger, he came out here a couple years ago and spoke in front of my Rotary Club. And
did I meet him?
I don't think you did.
Maybe not. Okay.
I don't think I brought him to the station, but he was the one who started the CART Fund, Coins for Alzheimer Research Trust. In 95, just a little change in your pocket. It's now in 4 states. They've raised $4.5 million, have given out 22 grants.
Some people just have that knack, don't they?
They came up with the Aricept drug, which helps Alzheimer's. I mean, it's amazing. Anyway, so I visited them and my cousin Polly, who you did meet. She was on the show a couple times.
Okay.
She called to say hi, or she told me to tell you hi. And
well, cool.
Weather could not be more spectacular. It was the only time in my life, other than when I went to Israel, because it doesn't rain in Israel, was that it never rained. It was perfect weather, 10 degrees warmer. We went into the ocean. We rode our bikes all around, played tennis.
Oh, wow.
Relaxed.
So who was the character in Charlie Brown that the cloud followed him around and just always rained on him?
I swear, I've had some... Almost some people don't even want to travel with me because my
Florida
bad weather
hurricane,
karma.
Yeah.
But we get out in the nick of time because remember the South was hit yesterday or the day before.
That's right.
We get out of Atlanta in the nick of time. Unfortunately, our bags didn't.
Oh, no.
Our bags are at the airport now. I have to go get them.
Well, welcome
Too
back
bad
anyway.
for them. But we had a great time. I really didn't watch much news, so... Call in and stump me today.
You
I don't know what happened for the last 6 days, and frankly, at some point, you just need a total break.
You do. I so agree.
Anyway, it was a lot of fun, but I missed you, and while I'm gone, I guess you announced you're retiring. Nice. I leave, and then all this news everywhere is retired. KMVT called me, and they said, we want to interview you. It was Monday, and I said, I'm not there, so there you go.
Want to interview you?
Yeah, I am your co-host. I know it wasn't mentioned anywhere in TV, print, anything. I am the co-host with you on the show.
Hey, this is about me, Jill.
Gosh,
this is about me.
I didn't even hit the highlight reel. So anyway, yes, they wanted to interview me to see, obviously my experience
they got Benito
with you.
Instead.
Yeah, your peer. He was our news director. But anyway.
I paid Benito off to say good things.
I don't even know if he did he? Yeah, he did. He was good. And I appreciate Benito filling in for me. So anyway, I'm back, and now the weather's turning.
I noticed that. Yeah, you might have to go back.
It was spectacular.
I bet it looked like you sent that one picture.
Yeah,
it looked like beautiful weather.
Yeah, their neighbor, they gave us a little boat ride, around the harbor. If anyone watches the Heritage Golf Tournament, it's from Sea Pines Plantation. That's where they have their condo. They bought it 37 years ago. When the island only had 7,000 people. So we used to go as child, in your childhood. And so there was a picture with Kelly, and I sent it to you, and I said, I'm not coming back. Bye-bye. Not coming back. You didn't respond, so I figured fine. He doesn't care. So anyway, it was lovely. I'm glad Gracie did well. I'm glad we're back.
Well, good. Nice to have you back.
Yeah. So anyway, and congratulations. Last show, December 31st.
Yeah, thank you.
Old Lang Syne.
New Year's Eve. Yeah.
Well, my big question is what? I have to work New Year's Eve now?
Yeah, right.
Fine. Thanks, Kel.
Well, I don't think that's a Jewish holiday, is it?
No, just a national holiday.
Okay.
Whatever.
No, it's not.
No, I guess New Year's Day. Isn't. New Year's Day is.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, coming up at 8:30, we have Rod Haynes with the Seattle Medicare Medicaid office. This is open enrollment time now for
Starting
Medicare.
Today.
Starting today.
Yeah, today.
So we'll have him on to answer any questions that you might have.
Mm-hmm.
Offer any new. He might have some input on any new rules and regulations regarding it.
You might be more interested now.
Well, I'm not eligible for
it
for another 4 years or so.
Yeah. You never know.
Yeah, and then at 9 o'clock, we have Twin Falls Mayor Don Hall with the state of the city.
We think. Did you check the schedule?
Yeah, well, I emailed him, actually. He emailed me back and said he would see us this morning. So I know he is.
Okay, well, that's always nice to know.
We have a caller, then we'll get into some news, okay?
Okay.
All right, top story. You're on the air. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, I thought I'd give you a little update here, Kelly, for a security breach of the week. I got a letter from Idaho Central Credit Union.
Oh, no. And what did they say?
It says that they've had a security breach, and my card was one of the potentially breached cards. So they sent me a new card without me even asking, which I thought was kind of nice.
Well, that's pretty good service.
The only bad part about it was the 3-digit security code on the back is 666.
Yeah,
oh,
you're
are you
in trouble.
serious?
You're like, I thought that was on the last card.
Oh, my.
So what happened? Did they say where the breach took place? I mean, which retailer?
It doesn't say a thing. I think it was the bank itself is what the letter seems to indicate to me.
Wow. Oh, that's even more disturbing. Have you noticed any problem with your account?
Well, not yet.
Yeah, that's the key.
I'm sure the 666 will help. No worries.
Oh, yes. That makes me feel so much better.
Well, that's good info. Thanks for that information.
Thank you for the breach of the week. Did you have one last week when I was gone?
Yeah, we did.
Who was it?
I'm trying to think now. Who in the world was it that had the breach last week? It wasn't a huge one.
Oh, okay.
Like we have had, but
there
was one. Yeah. So anyway, there's been one a week breach.
Okay.
And it's just going to do nothing but get worse. 736-0300, top story, you're on the air.
Hey, good morning. About that Idaho Central, I got the same thing. They said there's no worries, that they were just making sure that nothing happened, so they sent out a new card.
So there wasn't a breach?
Well, yeah, they said that there really wasn't anything that happened. They just making sure. They take care of us.
And you believe them? Come on, you now believe this? After all the things you don't believe, this one you believe?
I believe Idaho Central. Idaho Central's taking care of me.
Okay.
Very good.
Well, it's nice to be proactive, but boy, it's got to cost you a lot just to send everyone a new card.
Yeah, there had to be
letters. There had to be some inkling.
That's got to be an expensive proposition to send everybody new cards, and I would think that it would be work intensive. You'd have to put everybody's information on the new card. Oh. I can't wait. I'm kind of looking forward to getting those supposedly new cards with a little chip in them.
Don't worry, they'll figure out something by the time we get it.
Yeah.
Don't you worry. These guys are working on it as we speak.
They are. That is
Why
so
can't
true.
they put it towards good instead of evil?
736-0300, top story. You're on the air. Good morning.
Hello, to me?
You're on the air, yes.
Hey, I want to prove that the public has a memory that I remember what was head of the news before the towers fell, before the attack on 9/11. You have to remember way back. It'll sound familiar to you. Elian Gonzalez was in the front of the news.
Yes.
And so were all the shark attacks on the East Coast.
Yep.
But also, I remember every whining piece of junk that maintained that Bush didn't have WMDs in Iraq, and on your own news story just a few minutes ago, they said they proved that there was 5,000 nerve-based WMDs in Iraq in 2003, and I'll bet every whiner, every Bush hater that ever said that he lied. And I remember that chump change $87 billion that he asked for when he went to war. How the Democrats just thought they waste more than that a year now. And I just want to speak up as one of the public that does remember that Bush did the right thing. He obviously knew that those were there. He was a classy enough guy to keep a secret.
Oh my!
And now it's just coming out. So in your own newscast right before you came on, there's proof that there was 5,000 of them. And I just want to make sure that whichever one of you has that pipe that they need to smoke that in, go ahead and do that.
Oh, geez. You know what? If you believe all that, okay,
there.
great. Yeah, really, there's so much you can hardly deal with. Yeah, Bush was just a hero. Oh, please. Anyway,
oh, my gosh. Well, hey.
Don't start.
Welcome back, Jill.
Thank you. I know. It's like maybe I should get back. Like maybe I'll go back on a beach somewhere.
7360300 is the number to call. You can call and welcome back Jill if you want. And actually,
yeah, that's right. Where's my lovely caller? Always says hello.
We had Ray Parrish on yesterday. The Kiwanis Club is having the Oktober Feast tonight.
Oh, yeah. I
and
wondered
we were
if you
giving away
called
some
him.
tickets yesterday. We have a few more here. If you would like a ticket for the Oktober Feast tonight at the Turf Club from 4:30 till 8 o'clock, give us a call, give us your name, and we'll put your name on one of them. You can stop by today and pick it up.
How many do we have?
We have, I don't know, several of them, about 10 left, I think.
Oh, wow.
So 7360300, top story, you're on the air. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, lovely Jill.
Oh, I was like, where's my lovely call? Good morning. How are you?
Hello, future unemployed DJ. Listen,
We don't know yet. It's still up in the air, I think.
he's retiring. No, I'm talking about Kelly.
I thought you're like me. I'm like, what?
No. After January 1st, he'll be unemployed. Listen, let's all. I mean, you hear one little thing, and you got all these right wingers, conservatives, saying, "Oh, G-Dub was right. G-Dub was right." Well, if you the $100,000 question, where are the $1 billion that went missing? That's what I would like to know.
The $1 billion what?
That went missing during the Iraq War. $1 billion, just totally.
It was.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Billions and billions.
It was on a pallet.
I agree.
Yeah, so, I mean, if this guy is so proud of that, oh, you know what? I will give him $1,000 if he can tell me where those $1 billion are at. That's what I would like to know.
I know.
All right.
Well, thanks for calling.
Holy
Thanks for
smokes.
welcoming me back. Boy, we started something. But, at 10 o'clock, they actually are going to start doing marriages in Idaho.
They are. Yep.
I say,
Governor says
way to go.
We're done fighting it in the courts for now, so.
Hopefully he's not going to keep fighting. The thing that's interesting about this governor, he prides himself on being really basically a libertarian. Isn't that his position mostly? Get the government out of our lives.
But it's in the Idaho Constitution that marriage is between a man and a woman.
But it surprises
and that's what he is
me.
defending.
But it surprises me, that even that's in the Constitution, and B, that, they should be in our lives. And you know what? Kudos to all those people that are going to get married at 10 o'clock.
Well,
going to the chapel. They're all going to be married. They'll be as happy as we are, right, Kel?
There's nothing I can do to stop it. I don't approve of it simply because marriage is between a man and a woman in my viewpoint, so I can't condone it, but there's nothing I can do about it. So we'll move on.
I say congratulations.
We got another caller waiting, and we'll be back here on Top Story. 7360300 is the number to call. 7360300 is the number to call, and the folks at Stanley & Company have the Lowen Honey Loader, and I know, Jill, you've probably missed hearing about the Lowen Honey Loader for the past week.
Every day I wondered.
Yeah, exactly.
Isn't there a Lowen Honey Loader on this island? And I didn't find one. Anyway.
You didn't?
No.
They probably don't even know what cows are back there.
Well, it was really an unpopular. Well, it's South Carolina. There's a lot of land, but I don't know if they have. I didn't see any cows on the island.
In the immediate area where you were, it was probably
no.
It
used to be an old plantation.
Oh, okay.
Which is, Union soldiers were there. It was really kind of interesting.
I'll bet it was. I would love to see some of that area.
Yeah, we saw some of the old buildings.
Anyway,
cool.
I digress.
I digress.
The Lowen Honey Loader available for you now, and you can see one in operation if you like. If you think that one of these might work for your feedlot or dairy. Get a hold of Pat Hartzell at 280-1167. That's Pat Hartzell at 280-1167, and he can set you up to see one of these in operation, or he can sell you one. Pat Hartzell with Stanley & Company, and he'd love to help you out. 7360300 is the number to call. Kind of having a little, welcome back thing here for Jill?
I don't know.
Hasn't been but one welcome.
I know. Did anyone miss me?
I am shocked.
Did you miss me?
I did.
Did you?
I always miss you when you're there.
Right.
Just, things just aren't the same here on the show.
Is that true?
When you're used to having a co-host, and then you don't have that co-host, things just change. I mean, Benito's great and all that, but it's, it's just different.
Fine.
7360300.
I'll believe you, Kelly.
Top story. You're on the air. Good morning.
Good morning, kids. Burley Guy, how you doing?
Hi,
Burley Guy, how are ya?
I called to officially welcome Joe back to the neighborhood.
Thank
all
you.
right.
And to talk about your previous caller, he was pretty concerned about the money that come disappearing up in when he was in Iraq or whatever. But what about Solyndra? How many billions went there? And everybody just looked at the camera and said,
like my 15-year-old kid. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
Well, see, that was justified.
What about the $24 billion when they shut down the government?
Because Harry Reid had something to do with that, so it was justified. We don't know what it was, but
that's all make believe. That's like how many hours when like they're talking about savings. There's still 24 hours a day. That government shutdown, they would save money if they fired me. I can guarantee it. So.
Well,
hey, welcome back, Jill. Anyway,
you have to stop saying that. They might,
I wish they would. I'd retire.
Stop. Well, you and Kelly, you can go fishing.
We'll
hey,
retire.
Good idea. Hey, thanks.
Thanks, burly guy.
Thanks for the call.
He's going to get in trouble one of these days.
He might.
I know.
Well, speaking of retirement, I see the Ada County prosecutor is retiring too.
Yeah.
So
I guess
must
it's
be
just a
something in the
trend.
water.
What is it? What do you guys know that we don't know? What are we going to find out about soon?
Well, you'll find out. That's all I can say right now.
Okay.
Well, the first full-scale Ebola scare to hit, I was going to ask you about this, to hit Logan International Airport. Did you go through Logan when you were back there?
Kelly, do you know where South Carolina is?
Oh, that's right. You weren't in Boston, were you?
I took an all-night flight we drove to Salt Lake, took an all-night flight to Atlanta.
Oh,
12:55 in the morning, landed at 6:30, hopped a flight to Savannah, then drove an hour to
So you didn't
No,
go
we
through
weren't
Logan.
near Logan. I used to live in Boston, but no.
Because you would have missed all the excitement because I guess they sent first responders to Logan International yesterday in hazmat suits, streaming onto a crowded international flight, terrifying. Oh, it would have been an international flight.
It would have been international.
Terrifying passengers and family members before city health officials ruled that, sorry, false alarm.
Wrong country.
Ruh-roh.
United Emirates. Ruh-roh. But I'm glad we got these out of the closet, and we know how these work now. I think people are getting crazy, but I can see where a nurse would have gotten infected because they had the guy, Duncan, go to the hospital. They probably took his temperature and did all this, gave him antibiotics and sent him home.
I was talking about this with my wife yesterday. We actually do talk once in a while.
I was going to say, what?
And she is a former registered nurse. She did that before she went into teaching.
Yeah.
And she said, when you're working with patients, when you are a registered nurse, things just happen. She says, you're going to get pricked with a needle. Something is going to happen. She says they bring in patients, and like she was in pediatrics, so she remembered one time hanging on to this little baby for dear life while the doctor examined it. Come to find out it had some sort of contagious bacterial blaza, blaza, blaza,
You don't
and
know.
Then, so she had to take a shot, but you don't know these things until after the fact.
Well, I mean, I still think, and I know he's passed now, and but I still think I know he said he was from Liberia, but I still think it would have been helpful if he said, I think I might have Ebola. And apparently the people in his neighborhood are dying now. Back in Liberia. That's what I saw on the news this morning.
We'll hope that doesn't happen in Dallas.
You don't think that would have helped?
We got a caller. Top story, you're on the air. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, this is changing the subject, but I was wondering, Kelly, as I was reading about all your many hobbies, you don't mention playing the organ. Do you still do that?
That's right.
No,
I don't.
Organ? I don't have an organ at home, and I haven't played one for years.
How's your banjo?
My banjo isn't doing very well, and I do have a banjo at home.
I know, you do have a banjo.
When we used to go to the same church, I remember your playing was beautiful because you played with feeling. A lot of people are very methodical and technically correct, but you played with feeling, and I just love to hear you.
Well,
so I hope you stayed with it.
Well, now that I'm going to be retired, maybe I'll have more time and I can get an organ in the house and start doing that again.
You should.
Well, thank you very much for the call.
You bet. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
You're
Bye-bye.
probably going to get a lot of nice calls like that, Cal.
Yeah. Actually, we did. Yesterday we got a lot. But
did you?
We have Rod Haynes next from the Seattle Medicare Medicaid office here on Top Story. 7360300, always the number to call here on Top Story. Well, we tried to get a hold of Rod Haynes with the Seattle Medicare Medicaid office, but he didn't answer. We got his voicemail.
Try one more time.
Well, I can't try right now, unfortunately. Why? Well, because I'm on the air and I have to do an ad.
Okay, we'll do it at the break and see if we can get him at 8:40.
Yeah, okay. And I left a message for him. He might have been delayed in traffic. This is Seattle, after all. The bluest skies you'll ever see are in Seattle, but they do have crowded roads there.
Today is the first day of enrollment. Who knows? Maybe someone called right at the moment we called and he picked it
that's
up and he
true,
thought,
too.
oh my gosh, it's them, and it's not. It's someone else.
It could be, yeah. Okay.
My goodness.
Well,
Okay.
at any rate, while we're waiting for Rod, there's the phone calling, so that could be him. So I'm going to do a quick ad here. The folks at Canyon Pond want you to know that they have lots of guns, they have lots of camping stuff, they have lots of woodworking stuff, they have lots of fishing poles and fishing supplies, and they have tools and stuff that you would expect to see in a pawn shop. And Canyon Pond is Twin Falls' newest pawn shop, so I would suggest stopping by there. They're on Shoshone Street and 3rd Avenue South, right across the street from Will's Toyota. You can't miss it. Big sign says Canyon Pond. Brand new store, nice and clean inside, fun to go through. You go through today, you don't find what you're looking for. Try again tomorrow, and maybe you will. So Canyon Pond, you can give them a call. They're online at canyonpond.com, also on Facebook, or give them a call at 933-2600. All right, 736-0300, top story. You are on the air. Good morning.
Hey, Kelly, Jill, it's Carl.
Hi, Carl.
Carl.
Hey, welcome back, Jill. And Kelly, what the heck do you mean you're retiring? I just got back from Utah. I just heard. What the heck?
Oh, well.
He can't handle it anymore. He can't take it.
I'll be here until December 31st. Jill is just too hard on me. I can't take it anymore, so, I got to
Somehow I knew it'd be my fault. It's always my fault for everything.
Absolutely.
I'm the reason you're retiring.
Who's gonna take your place?
Don't know yet,
sure
but there is a universe-wide search on to find somebody to take my place.
You know,
man, I'm throwing my name in the hat.
All right.
For sure.
All right,
Sounds
Carl,
good.
let's bring it on. Let's bring it on, Carl.
All right, you guys have a great day, man.
All right, thanks, you too.
Keep listening now. Okay, take care.
Carl, he sounds like quite a guy, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
Anyway, so yeah, we'll just we got some more news to talk about here. Maybe we can get a hold of Rod at the 8:40 break there, because I know lots to talk about in Medicare and Medicaid and such. But a second healthcare worker at Texas Health Presbyterian Hospital who cared for Mr. Duncan has now tested positive for Ebola, according to health officials, casting further doubt on the hospital's ability to handle Ebola and protect employees. The worker reported a fever yesterday and was immediately isolated. Health Department spokeswoman Carrie Williams said the preliminary Ebola test was done late Tuesday at the state public health. So anyway, another worker has Ebola.
I can understand that, because when he first came in, they didn't think he had, I don't know what they were thinking. He just had a fever, a cold, or whatever, so they probably touched his head. He's clammy. They probably touched his things. Who knows if they put gloves on right away? Who knows? They might have handed him the bottle of antibiotics. Who knows?
I was watching an interview yesterday on TV from a doctor, and he said, do not expect a big outbreak or an epidemic here in the United States. He says, yes, we're going to have these, there's probably going to be a few more cases of it, and we can expect things like that to happen on occasion, but he says, do not be worried about, and he didn't seem like he was just a yes man from somebody's, from some department higher up trying to keep the people from panicking. He seemed like he knew what he was talking about. And he says, you know what? It's just, we're not going to have an epidemic here in the United States. It's not going to happen. There might be a few more cases, but we're not going to have an epidemic. So. Well,
now I love how Texas Presbyterian's like, oh, maybe we should have sent him to Emory or somewhere else. Maybe we weren't qualified for this.
Did you know that in the entire United States of America, there are 4 hospitals equipped to handle this? There are 11 beds available in the entire United States. One of the hospitals equipped for it is in Missoula, Montana. Mm-hmm. That's the closest one. One is in Atlanta. One is in, I think, Bethesda, Maryland, and one is in Omaha, Nebraska. So I thought that was quite interesting. But then again,
But then they keep them at Texas Presbyterian Hospital.
I mean, if somebody came here to St. Luke's, they would probably keep them there and treat them there. Cheryl Becker, the public health nurse, said they have isolation rooms at the hospital.
But I think that there was definitely, I don't know what was going on. How do you not ask someone from Liberia? Do you not watch the news? Do you not, are you're such a small world, you don't get what Liberia is? But the man should have said, I think I have Ebola.
You're right, and the nurse should have said, "Oh, so you're from Liberia? Well, we're a little interested in this, so
could you have had any contact with someone who had Ebola?" He should have said yes.
There was a comedy of errors in this, and we're paying for it now. But still, the doctor says we're probably not going to see an epidemic. So anyway, we'll be right back here on Top Story 736-0300. All right, we're back. 736-0300 is the number to call, and through the miracle of modern communication, we do have contact with Rod Haynes from the Seattle Medicare Medicaid office. Good morning, Rod.
Good morning, Rod.
Hey, guys, I'm so sorry. I'm glad to be with you, and welcome back from vacation, Jill.
Thank you, Rod. It was lovely.
Yeah, it's nice to have you on again here, Rod. I know it's been a while since we talked, but since today's the first day for open enrollment for Medicare Medicaid, is there anything new that folks out there should know about?
Yes, I'd like to share a couple things. One is that the premiums this year for Part B are going to remain the same as they did. In the coming year, 2015, they'll be the same as they are this year. That is $104.90 per month for Part B as in boy. And the deductibles will remain the same at $147. Now, regarding your Part D plans, that is Part D as in David, the drug plans,
Wait, Rod, quick. For people who don't know what Part B is, you might want to tell them.
Okay. A is for hospitalization. B is for, like, when you go to the doctor, it's outpatient.
Okay.
And so what I'm trying to communicate is, as far as cost, there is no difference in the coming calendar year. Thank you for asking.
Yeah,
Jill.
You're welcome.
I know that we have a short time. I'd like to share this thought with your listeners. Every year they should look at their drug needs for the coming year, and they do it on three things. One is how healthy are they? Two is where are they located and whether they want to purchase from a local pharmacy. And the third factor is wealth, what their resources are. So every year I encourage your listeners to do a sort of checkup on their drug plan and whether it works for them in the coming year.
So there are different drug plans, Rod, if you sign up, because I know you're required to sign up for Part D whether you want to or not.
Unless you have a government equivalent or a plan from a retiree plan that is equivalent to Part D, you're right. You generally have to sign up unless you have a retiree plan that is as good as Part D. So it's a matter of whether you have one in place that's as good as Part D.
So what different options of Part D are there then? When you say you look at it different ways, is it through what do you do for that?
This is what I do. Yeah. I encourage folks to do one of two things. Either go to Medicare.gov and then look for the plan finder, and you self-walk it through. In other words, you are dialing in your prescriptions and where you live and what you can afford. So you go to Medicare.gov and look for the plan finder. That's one option. A second one is, and I always emphasize this, Kelly and Jill, is you've got a wonderful SHEBA office, a statewide health insurance benefits folks at the Idaho Department of Insurance. And when you're ready, I can share their phone number. I know I'm coming at you fast, but just let me know.
It's okay. Jill's taking notes. I'm just listening.
Taking notes, yeah.
Good. The SHEBA number, if you want someone to help you and you want to call them in-state, in Idaho, is 800-488-5725. And not only are they knowledgeable about Part D plans and Medicare Advantage plans, but they can talk to you about many different aspects of senior health and senior advocacy. They're really strong, and I feel that folks should call them if they have any questions. One other thing that I didn't say to you is that it's not just Part D. Some folks like Medicare Advantage plans. Now, Jill, do you know what I'm talking about when I use that term?
Yeah.
Okay.
But maybe our listeners don't, so you might want to tell them.
I just want to distinguish between Part D, which is just a standalone drug plan, and you use that with, say, a supplement and your Medicare. So you got a 3-part package. You got your Medicare A and B, you got maybe a supplement, and the third piece would be a Part D. That's one option. A different choice would be like a Medicare Advantage plan. I'm not permitted to mention the companies, but that would be where you get your health and drugs wrapped into one coverage. So you can't have both. You can have one or the other. There are alternative choices there.
And Rod, not everyone qualifies for Medicare Advantage. Right?
Oh, well, if they have Part A and Part B, they can select Medicare Advantage. I think what you're alluding to, Kelly, is the supplement.
Yeah, right, the supplement, yeah.
If you have original Medicare, what I mean by that is you can go to any doctor you want, and that's called original Medicare, and you wish to buy a supplement or what we call Medigap. Yeah, you're right. There are really strong or definite restrictions to when you can buy a Medigap or Medicare supplement. There are tight times when you can do that. On the other hand, again, I'm talking a different choice. The Medicare Advantage plans, if you got A and B, now is the time to think about maybe going with Medicare Advantage. I'm trying to emphasize it's either or. Either you have traditional Medicare and a Medigap plan, or you go Medicare Advantage. It's not both. You got either choice. I hope that makes sense to you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now I know there are dates like, okay, so I'm retiring at the end of this year, okay, but I don't qualify yet for Medicare because, and what are those dates? I'm kind of asking this for my own purpose now, but I know there are a lot of people out there who have that same question.
Excellent question, and here it is. If let's say that January 6th is you're 65 and you're retired. Here's how it works. So you're saying in January, I'm going to be 65 and I'm retiring. What the government says is 3 months prior to January, 3 months after January. So what I'm talking about is a 7-month span with January right in the middle. Any time in that 7-month span, that is when you go to Social Security and you say, I'd like to sign up for Part B. And you use a form online or you do it paper-wise, you submit a hard copy. So again, I'm turning 65 in January 6th of next year. 3 months prior to January, 3 months after January, in January, that's a 7-month span. Within that time is when I can sign up for Medicare. You can also sign up if you choose to work until you're 70. There's other provisions for that. So don't think that only when you're 65. If you postpone retiring, you can also sign up. So you're going to retire, huh, Kelly?
Well, I am, but I'm not quite that advanced. I'll be 62 at the end of this month.
Okay.
So
he just seems it, Rod.
So I won't qualify for Medicare, as what I understand, until I'm 66. Is that right?
What you don't want to do is confuse the Social Security benefits that you're entitled to and the Medicare entitlements. And this is important for your listeners. You're right. Social Security has different times depending on the year you were born when you get full benefits. So that's true, Kelly, but we're limiting our discussion to Social Security here. Regarding Medicare, the national health insurance, 65 is the year in which you can qualify for Medicare unless you're disabled.
Oh, okay.
So you got to distinguish between your Social Security benefits and your health coverage. I hope that's clear to your listeners.
Okay, I get it. Now, I always thought that related to Medicare, but it's not. It's Social Security.
Separate.
It is separate.
I knew I was restricted in Social Security, but I guess I thought I was in Medicare, too.
Well, it's good that we're having this conversation. The connection is...
Thank goodness we have Rod on.
Right. If you do have benefits from Social Security, yes, the government will take the premiums you are paying for Medicare out of your Social Security, but I just want folks to understand that they're two separate tracks. One other thing I failed to mention is this. It is October now, and those folks who are in Medicare should have in the mail, should have received or will be within the week, a red, white, and blue booklet. It's called Medicare and You, and it's got the date 2015 on it. Well, why do you care? The reason you care is the most recent plans, both Part D as in David and Medicare Advantage, they are in the back of the booklet, and any recent changes, and there aren't real basic changes for this year, will be covered in this booklet, red, white, and blue. And one other thing, it's specific to the state of Idaho. That's why it's important. It's not a regional thing. When you get Medicare and You booklet, it will be related to your state specifically.
So, Rod, for people that are new to Medicare, are going to sign up, and we talked about Part D, and it's separate if if you have the other plan and you're covered otherwise. But this is someone who isn't. You can't opt out of it because my understanding was you're going to be penalized, really, basically for the rest of your life.
I agree.
So you can't delay signing up for that, can you?
No. Technically, the government says if you don't want Part D, they are not going to knock on your door and make you get Part D. But let's say you do not have any other retiree coverage or no other drug coverage. Let's say that. And you do enroll in Medicare when you're 65, and now it's 68, and you had said for 3 years, I didn't want Part D.
Right.
And now you want drugs because you had a stroke. God forbid that happens, but you had a stroke, and now you need the drugs. Well, the government's going to say to you, hey, at age 65, you should have enrolled, and therefore we're going to penalize you, as you said, Jill, for the rest of your life. The key to all of this, and I know for you it's sometimes difficult. The key here is when you enroll in Medicare, and you do not have other type of drug coverage, and you deny it, you decline the Medicare D, you're inviting a permanent penalty if and when you come back to get the drug plan later on. Does that register?
Right, because I know we're not really that big on drugs, but Tom had to sign up for it, because you think,
you never know.
Right, and then
you
that
don't know.
You don't know. You don't know.
And what Kelly said is accurate. You could say, I don't need it, and halfway through the year, again, God forbid, something catastrophic does occur.
Yeah.
So insurance is for that reason. You just don't know.
Right. So when is the enrollment times for this year, Rod? And people do have to look at that. I mean, you have a certain enrollment period, and it starts today.
Do. And unlike a couple of years ago, folks used to think, it used to be this way, Jill, that it was 15 October through the end of December. Let me be very clear that now the enrollment time frame is 15 October, which starts today, but it concludes on the 7th of December. For those veterans like me, that's Pearl Harbor Day.
Yeah.
But the point is, it is not the end of December when the open enrollment period ends. It is the 7th of December, and I'm glad you brought that up. That's quite important.
And people, and I was going to say, people also need to know that some plans are canceling. We just got to notice that Tom's is, and so this is the time you have to look at a new plan. They don't automatically continue, do they?
This is you're really great to talk to, but this is another important point.
I don't have to ask you. I just asked Jill. No,
but you guys
a lot of research. Yeah,
you're raising really excellent points, and I had begun our discussion by saying I think every year folks do need to look at their coverage, if not to change it, to make sure, that the plan is still going to be around. And the majority will, but not all. That's a very good point. But have your needs changed and so forth. But always at least check it out. And your prescription needs may well change. I was going to ask you, Jill, do you know what the term formulary means?
No.
Formulary means drug list.
Oh.
And here's my point. The formulary that you had for the year 2014, the drug list that you had with the plan, How do you know that has not changed for the coming year?
Mm.
The plan is supposed to tell you if they change the list of drugs, but another way of knowing is to call Sheba, call 1-800-Medicare, or go to the plan finder at Medicare.gov. So I have just given you 3 ways of finding out whether your prescription plan will be in place, will exist, and if that drug list called the formulary is changing. You can go to Medicare.gov, you can call 1-800-Medicare, or call the good folks at Sheba at 800-488 5725 within the state of Idaho.
All right, and with that information, we'll have to turn you loose. We're out of time, Rod. It's always a pleasure, and you're always a wealth of information. We appreciate it.
I'll be back with you soon, and all the best. Thank you.
Thanks, Rod. Take care.
Rod Haynes from the Seattle Medicare Medicaid office. Coming up next hour, we have Twin Falls Mayor Don Hall on State of the City, right here on Top Story. Hey, welcome back to Top Story, 736-0300, always the number to call. Welcome back, Jill.
Thank you, Kelly.
And I do mean that sincerely.
Do you?
Yes,
you missed
I do.
me.
Well, welcome back anyway.
Stop, you did too. Rock and roll. You know we're on video now. Yeah, there you go. Rock and roll.
It's appropriate, Jill.
Okay. Kelly's retiring. I hope one of those isn't me, Don.
Well, no, it's me.
Okay.
Oh, my. Okay, how did we get off onto that rabbit trail?
I have no idea. I just came back last night. I don't know what's happening.
Better not hang up anything shiny in front of us. At any rate, we have Twin Falls Mayor Don Hall with State of the City. Good morning, Don.
Good morning.
Good morning to both of you.
Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you, and I'm not very happy with you, Kelly.
I know. What can I say?
I guess at this point I can say, well, that's just too bad, Don.
You absolutely can.
If people just tuned in, why aren't you not happy with Kelly?
I am not happy with you, but I'm happy for you because you've announced your retirement.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm kind of
He looks really young for 65, doesn't he?
He does.
Oh, wait, you're not. I'm sorry.
No, I'm not quite there yet.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, so.
Thanks for setting me up on that, Jill.
Yeah.
Yes, he does look young for 65.
Yeah. I thought you knew how old he was. No, sorry. Yeah, he looks great for 80. Anyway.
Oh, my. Okay, well, we're supposed to be talking about matters of the city.
That's right.
Yes, indeed. And let's see. One of those is a senior committee. You're working on a senior committee. In fact, we talked to the
Daphne Mallory and her husband Bob.
Daphne
Yeah.
Mallory.
Yes, and they have been instrumental in trying to get a committee going, advisory committee of senior citizens, which sounds to me, now that I am approaching that part in life.
He's a huge advocate for it now.
Sounds like a pretty good idea.
Yeah. Last year, not so much. Now, yes.
You know, it's almost like it's custom made just for you.
You would think, wouldn't you?
Well, they had amazing statistics how many seniors are now in our town, and it like quadrupled or something, right? From
There's
what they
a lot
thought.
of seniors that we are becoming somewhat of a retirement community, which is great.
Yeah.
Well,
I guess so.
okay.
Soon
there'll be the early bird
that has a lot
special.
of implications for the economy.
It does.
It does.
Things.
It does. Well, and services as well. There's
Yeah.
different services when we start talking about seniors. So, yeah, it's going to be different. But we're really excited about this senior committee because advisory committee because it gives us the ability to reach out and listen to the needs of our senior population. And maybe, well, I just think it's an improvement on what we do. We need to hear from the folks.
Are we going to start having early bird specials now? Is that what's happening? Dinner at 5, whether you
I
like
understand.
it or not?
I'm 53 now. I understand that you can start getting a senior rate at some restaurants at 55.
You
Is that
can.
correct?
Really?
Yes, it is.
I can't wait.
Oh, my God.
Well, maybe you can just tell them you're 55. They won't argue.
Yeah, they're not going to argue.
Oh, you don't look 55. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's like, okay.
So is this official, or is it still got some more steps to go through before
Yeah,
this
there's a
happens?
few more steps, but the whole council is very much behind this. I mean, it only makes sense. We have a youth council that gives us input on youth-related issues. Why wouldn't we not have a senior council as well?
Yeah. It seems like in the last few years that the city has been kind of concentrating on more and more special committees like that than it ever has been. And, is there a point where you get too many?
Well, yeah, absolutely. When I was the mayor before, because we do this mayor gig in 2-year increments, and a couple years ago when I was mayor before, one of the big pushes was to try to reduce some of the advisory committees and maybe consolidate some of them. For example, our tree commission, we had a tree commission. Right. We put that within our Parks and Rec, which made sense. But I mean, I think we're flexible enough to, if a committee has maybe run through its usefulness, that we can certainly move on. Our Citizen Finance Committee, we took a shot at doing a Citizen Finance Committee, and that didn't go the direction that everyone was hoping, so we disbanded that. And we're not afraid of disbanding or bringing new ones in when we see that there's a need. And again, I mean, we have a lot of seniors in our community. We need to hear their voice.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So are you looking for people for the committee? What's the next stage? How do people want to get involved?
Not quite yet. We're still putting together the structure to it. The actual, we're going to do it in a resolution. Okay, there's going to be a senior committee, and then we're going to do kind of like, bylaws, articles of incorporation, but bylaws for the committee. And then we'll go ahead and vote on that as a council. And I think we said within the next couple weeks. And then once that structure's there, then we're going to do the call out and ask for seniors to get involved. And we would like the seniors then to take the foundation of what we have and change it if need be. We just wanted to give it some structure before we brought the seniors in, and then the seniors have the ability to make recommendations after that.
Will this be a deal where you have to be a resident of the city in order to be?
Well, it's what we say here so far is it's 65 and older, and we try to stay within the boundaries of the city of Twin Falls because it's a committee for the city of Twin Falls Council. I would assume we'll do that with this, but it hasn't been worked all the way out yet.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Now, we got the road closure. Did you get the
Canyon Springs Grade is going to be closed to pedestrians tomorrow, Thursday.
Yes. Thank you. And I'm glad you asked that question early because I didn't know the details, and so I got a hold of the city, and Travis and Josh looked it up. It's only going to be closed to pedestrians.
From 3 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Thursday, October 16th.
Exactly. And what's happening is we have a lot of truck traffic that day regarding our construction down at the wastewater treatment plant. And it's for public safety.
So are people, they can drive down and go to the golf course?
They can.
So cars can go down, just people can't walk.
People can't walk because of those trucks. We're just trying to be safe.
Yeah. That's always better than, hitting a few pedestrians on the way.
Yeah, that's not good.
Speaking of that grade, are you looking at, I know there was it seemed like an odd choice between City Hall and improving the grade of Canyon Springs, but I thought that was pretty much, you had to improve the grade because of the trucks were damaging it.
Well, we are going to have to once this is a long process of getting the wastewater treatment plant finished. But we have, and I believe in our budget this next year, $600,000 to actually go in and do a comprehensive study of that grade, find out what exactly we need to do to make it safer. We've got to develop a plan. It's partly city property, partly private property, and we need to ensure, I mean, what are the steps? Should we, you see some communities that they've put the, like the fencing on it to keep the rocks back. Should we do other more extensive things? We're certainly going to need to work on the actual roadway. I think that's what you're really talking about after these trucks.
I think that's what you guys said. It was damaging. And,
it's going to damage it. Yeah, absolutely.
Should people be concerned prior to that, the study being done, that they're in danger at all? Like that it could be unsafe for some reason because of all the trucks?
Grade? Yeah. Well, I walk it from time to time, and if you look at it, it's a canyon, and it has rocks. And,
no, I know, but I mean, like, what's the time frame, do you think, to fix it? I know you say a study, but what about actually?
Well, we don't know. We need to know what we need to do to fix it. So we're going through this process of finalizing and finishing the improvements down at the wastewater treatment. At the same time, we're going to be doing the study to figure out exactly what we need to do with the canyon wall. Yeah. And then those options will be brought to us as a council, and we'll have to make some decisions.
Yeah, they say it's not going to be done till late winter 2015. Okay, so it's going to be going on a while.
Yeah, the construction, absolutely. Yeah. It's extensive. We basically are doubling the capacity of our wastewater treatment plant.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. And that's kind of the Achilles heel too, isn't it? That roadway down there, because
it is.
It never has been what you would consider a top-notch roadway.
Well, it's not. There's so many dynamics, and if you ever have a chance to go walk it, just go walk it. It's beautiful, it's cool, but there's some challenges there, and it has a tremendous amount of not only vehicle traffic but pedestrian. People love that grade
they
workout.
do. It's a great
That's a
workout.
good exercise place.
It absolutely is.
You do get a good workout when you're coming up there. Now, we have a meeting coming up regarding the downtown Twin Falls reconstruction.
We
Redesign?
do. We do. It's the OTAC committee, or the OTAC folks are coming in, and we are going to be meeting on at 6 p.m. October 16th at the Historic Ballroom.
That's Thursday also.
Yes.
Everything's happening tomorrow, Don. Everything's tomorrow.
Well, yeah, we like Thursdays apparently at the city, and this is a real good chance for folks to come in and give us their input, because we have some money to spend downtown. Or the URA does, okay, and they are reaching out to the community and asking what's the best use of those funds.
Okay.
So my question was, and I left, and I wasn't here last week for the show for the city. Sorry, so I might be asking a redundant question, but my question is, why is the city putting together a city hall committee when we haven't really seen the final design? Because my understanding is OTAC is going to redesign our downtown. I was at the first meeting. So it seems like, why wouldn't the city wait to see where they might suggest where a city hall would be best?
Well, I think that we can do things alongside of each other. We don't have to look at one issue and then the other. The other thing that I need to really make clear to everyone is that there have been no decisions regarding whether we're going to do anything with our facility needs. We have just gone out, we've looked at options. I personally believe I've been elected in this position by the community to utilize my intellect and my views. I believe that we need to do something with our space needs, because we have our staff too spread out. We're in buildings that were built in the 40s. Okay, and we're really constricted within those. The police department's been remodeled and remodeled and remodeled. It was a building built in the 70s, and I would submit to you that we have more police today than we did in the 1970s because our community has grown. So we need to do something with space needs. What that is, we're not sure. But we've done our due diligence, went out and looked at 11 different sites within the community, and we've kind of at least feel the most interesting site at this point is the Banner Furniture Building, and we're going to be doing some not only tours of that building for the community, but tours of the City Hall as well as the police department, so the community can see what our space needs really are.
Are they going to tour the 11 different buildings? Because my understanding is you guys have put $30,000 into the Banner Building so far, and that there is a contract on there because there's $10,000 in earnest money.
Sure. There's we've held that.
So to me, I mean, it seemed odd to have to secure that when they're still trying to redesign, because it just seems like their design might be a little different than putting a city hall on Main Street.
Well, the redesign, they're not going to come in and say what buildings need to do what. They're looking more at infrastructure and roadways and things like that. They're not going to come and tell us what.
They're not going to redesign the downtown? I thought that was what they were going to do.
Redesign it?
Yeah, that's why Chris kind of said, like, it's going to be different and all these.
Well, I think there's going to be some
maybe move the
options.
Fountain and things like that.
Well, sure, and that's been ongoing by our community as well, the changing the fountains.
Apparently, it's going to be more from curbside to curbside, but it's not going to go up into the businesses and the stores.
Well, the challenge is going up into the businesses. That's privately owned business.
Yeah.
I think we're talking more infrastructure and maybe some curb, sidewalk, roadways, things like that. To go up into someone's private business, I don't think we don't even have the ability to do that.
Well,
with city funds.
Can you hang on for another segment?
Sure.
All right, we'll be back with Twin Falls Mayor Don Hall here on Top Story. 7360300 is the number to call here this morning on Top Story. Welcome back. And our word of the day, time now for our word of the day, which is sponsored now by the folks at the Happy Landing Restaurant and
Nice.
Pub at the Twin Falls Airport.
Your favorite place to go for lunch.
I eat out there all
I
the
know
time.
you do.
And for Sunday afternoon football, they got $2 drink specials. So, if you're looking for a fun place to go, nice big screen TVs to keep up on the games, $2 drink specials at the airport. And you don't have to be flying anywhere or returning on a flight from somewhere in order to eat at the restaurant.
No,
you can just
I'm
walk in
heading out there to pick up my luggage from last night. Maybe I'll grab a bite to eat.
You should. You don't even have to go through a metal detector to get into the restaurant. So, Happy Landing Restaurant and Pub at the Twin Falls Airport. And
what's the word of the day?
Today's $100 instant winning name first is Todd Guest.
Todd Guest, congratulations.
And your $100 word of the day for today is Spectre.
Spectre.
Specter. Spectre.
Don, are you playing word of the day? You said that was going to be one of your campaign, your promises.
Well, it wasn't campaign,
your office
it was a New Year's resolution.
Yeah, New Year's resolution.
And you know what happens to New Year's resolutions, Jill?
We're in October.
I apologize.
Have you even played it once?
I just want to apologize
Spectre,
up front, Jill.
Spectre. Spectre is the word.
Go to our website at newsradio1310.com. Click on Word of the Day, type in Spectre, and listen tomorrow. And if you hear your name tomorrow and you played the word today, you win $100.
How easy is that? So you
know.
could win $100, Don.
I could.
So, okay.
I've never won anything, so that would be
you
nice.
got to play to win.
We're on the discussion
yeah.
about what's going to happen in downtown Twin Falls. And Jill, I guess you were kind of under the impression there was going to be a little more design effort on part of the buildings and such. And Mr. Mayor, Don Hall, says no, that it's mostly going to be the infrastructure. So set us straight.
Well, remember, the URA money needs to be spent legally, okay? When you start talking about design, certainly there can be some design elements that are attached to downtown and some suggestions and some ideas. And if the URA chooses to buy a building or whatever they choose to do, they can certainly utilize public money for the building that they own. But to be able to take public money and to throw it into a private business, there's some different challenges there. Really, what my personal perspective is we need to solve the infrastructure issues with our downtown. For example, we have a lot of beautiful buildings downtown that I know that some of the private developers would like to develop the second story into maybe loft housing. We've heard that before. But we have some significant challenges with water pressure because of the infrastructure in the ground. And so we need to, those are kind of things that I'm leaning towards.
I'm kind of surprised they didn't replace a lot of those when they rebuilt the downtown in the late 1960s.
And I don't know exactly what they did.
You weren't around then.
Yeah, well, I was
be
around,
like
but not
50
here.
years old at this point. Which reminds me, did they ever find out the source of the water main break on Washington and Orchard?
I have not been told that yet.
Okay.
I know that maybe they have that answer, but I don't have it yet.
We were laughing. The wooden pipes are working. Hey, do we have a call?
We do.
Okay.
Okay, let me say this real quick.
Right.
We are also doing tours for the City Hall, the Police Department, and the Banner building, the furniture building, Thursday, October 23rd, 24th, and 25th, all simultaneously. You can go to those different locations because we want to get public input about what the direction the city should take. So,
all right, very good. Top story, you're on the air with Mayor Don Hall.
Good morning.
Hey, I'm just calling to help out the mayor. I'm on the URA board.
Okay, good.
And he is right. All we can do is spend money on infrastructure. So pipes in the streets, sidewalks, streets. We can raise buildings, but we can't build buildings.
Let me ask you this, if I can. Let's say that the city decided to go with the Banner building. So if that became a city entity, then could the URA spend money on upgrading that building or not?
Well, that would be a question for Melinda, probably.
Hey, you called in.
Yeah, you're on the spot.
I know I did. If the city owns it, the URA doesn't. Well, they don't own it, so we can't do any improvements on a building we don't own.
Okay.
All right.
Well, that makes sense. Okay.
So anyway, either way, the meeting is tomorrow night at 6 to 8 at the historic ballroom, right?
It is from 6. It's at 6 p.m. I think it goes until 8. That is correct.
Okay. So
Yes.
people can come down and give their input and look around.
And if we chose after this, because we're putting a citizen committee together to look at what we should do with our space needs. If we chose to go ahead and purchase the banner and remodel it and do those kind of things, then the URA could do infrastructure up to the building, okay, which is needed, and maybe sidewalks and curb and gutter and roadways and all those kind of things. But they can't come into the building and
right.
Yeah.
Right. Now,
and I don't think we should ask them to.
Yeah.
That should be the city. And keep in mind, people get real confused about the URA and the city. They're two separate entities.
Right.
And some people don't understand that. They're two taxing entities, okay, but they're two separate entities.
Did we cover everything, Don?
I think so.
All right. Well,
I feel good.
We appreciate you coming in.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I mean, it clarifies it, so that'll be good. People
we'll
have to get
turn you loose
involved.
early today.
Excellent. That's nice.
All right. Yeah.
Sounds like I'm out of here.
Thank you.
Twin
Thanks,
Falls
Don.
Mayor
We always
Don Hall.
appreciate it.
Twin Falls Mayor Don Hall, our guest this morning here on Top Story. So, when you get married, should you have to change your last name, ladies? We'll talk about that when we come back. 7360300 is the number to call here on Top Story. You know what season this is, don't you?
Fall?
It is fall. And that always means people bring out the chainsaws and the leaf blowers. Chainsaws because you want to get that firewood for the winter.
And it's Halloween.
Or you want to trim up some trees, before winter sets in, so that we don't get some of that heavy snow and the branches come crashing down on top of your car. And you can get them, Echo chainsaws and Echo leaf blowers at Clearwater Power Equipment. They're at 252 Washington Street, where General Building Supply used to be, or 734-7767 is their number to call. They can also store your big lawnmower for you if you want over the wintertime. You can ask them about that. But the leaves, I've noticed, are really starting to fall, and as soon as we get the first frost, it's going to be like, bam!
Have leaves started falling already?
Everywhere. Oh, yeah. Where have you been, Jill?
South Carolina. You should see the trees they have there. Oh,
I'll bet.
Huge.
They could use probably an Echo leaf blower, too.
They can, yeah.
From Clearwater Power Equipment.
Beautiful. But anyway.
Yes, stop in and ask them, because that's all they do. They don't sell lumber. They don't sell fridges and washers and dryers. They sell chainsaws, leaf blowers, and lawnmowers. And that's what they are experts in at Clearwater Power Equipment. Okay, so now I'm going to have to reach around here and grab my story. I ran across this morning, and that's not the one.
Oi. Do you not have it? I have it. Do you want my story? Take my story.
Oh, here it is. I found it.
Can anyone see his desk over there?
I have it fixed so I can back up in here and get out of the camera range.
No one can see that little desk.
That's right.
The pile.
I can get back here and scratch my nose.
I just have my current pile, though. Yeah.
Anyway, Amal Almudine. That may be a familiar name to you now. She was the one who married George Clooney recently.
She was the one who caught him.
That's right. And she, well known in a lot of important circles, long before she snagged Mr. Clooney, the world's most eligible bachelor.
She's a very established human rights attorney.
Yes, she is. But now it's Amal Clooney.
Yeah.
According to her law firm's website. She actually changed her last name.
Think about how much easier it will be to spell.
Well, that's true. And for other people to spell.
Yeah.
That the 36-year-old British attorney has decided to take her famous husband's last name has raised a lot of questions about feminism and traditional marriage roles. So our question is going to be, ladies, how do you feel when you get married and then you change? Well, I was going to say you have to change your last name. Actually, you really don't have to change your last.
It's a choice. To me, it's a choice. If that's what you want to do, great. If you don't, that's fine. It's between you two. I changed my name both times. My first married name was Sonnenstein, which Sonenstein, which no one spelled correctly. I would get credit cards spelled wrong. So annoying. And it is quite a hassle to change your name. You've got your social security card, you've got your driver's license, you got all your credit cards, you got your checkbook. It is a pain, but sometimes you say, you know what? That's what I want to do.
In traditional marriages, studies show the majority of newly wedded women still change their names. The percentage of women who kept their maiden names peaked in the 1990s before leveling off in the 2000s at about 18%, according to 2009 study, though more recent data from Facebook show that around a third of 20-somethings who decide who wed decide to against changing their name.
I say, you know what? And feminism is about doing what's right for you. It's fine, whatever you want to do. I think it's an issue if you're going to have children. I remember my brother-in-law's brother. They were all Pliners, and his wife kept her name Pam Burns. And when the kids were little, they would go Pliner, Pliner, Pliner Burns. They didn't understand why their mommy had a different name. And, that can be tough when you have a certain name and your kids have different names.
Interesting story about that. In this same story that we'll talk about when we come back, we have a caller right now.
So
Top
what do you
story.
think?
You're on the air. What do you think?
Well, good morning. This is a interesting topic. My wife now was married once before, and she went back to her maiden name, which has a little bit of historical significance in the state of Idaho. It's Senarusa.
Okay.
And when we got married, she says, would you be upset if I didn't change my name? And I said, I don't care. She didn't hyphenate it or anything. She just kept her maiden name, and it doesn't bother me a bit. The only place it comes to be a problem sometimes is when we're doing things like, health care, whatever, and people ask, are you guys really married?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe you should change. Maybe you should change.
Not
Maybe you should change your name to hers, Senarusa.
Well, she jokes about that. I could, but I'm not.
What about your kids? Do you have kids?
No, we don't have any kids.
So if you had kids, whose name would go? Did you talk about that before?
It would have been mine.
Would have been yours. Okay.
Okay.
So that even sounds.
It doesn't bother
hard.
me, and we joke about it from time to time.
If men changed their names, they would be less, likely to have their wife change their. It's a pain.
I
know
it's a pain, but it's interesting to see how people feel about that.
Tom wanted me to change my name. It's fine.
7360300 is the number to call. How do you feel about that? We'll come back after the break. 7360300 is the number to call here this morning on Top Story, talking about women changing their names when they get married.
If you think it's important. And this would be interesting if you were a guy and the law was different, would you want to change your name? It's kind of hard because you lose track of all your friends, like from high school. You get married, you don't know what their married name is. And
well, I've noticed on Facebook that a lot of the women put their maiden name so that they can be recognized, and then their married name.
Right. Well, you have to. How would anyone find me? But when I told you when I first moved here, I wasn't married. It was Jill Sherman. And then we got married, so I would keep Sherman, so people would still know it was me. And then eventually I've dropped Sherman. So sometimes people still call me Jill Sherman Scheme. It was never hyphenated. It was just.
Here's an
you
interesting.
Want people to know who you are.
An interesting story from CNN, from the same place where I picked this up, and I thought it was an interesting subject. There's a lady here who, well, first of all, it said there are many stories of moms who kept their maiden names and gave their children their fathers, only to be stopped when trying to pick the kids up from school or daycare.
I know, that would be interesting.
One woman who was married to a German spent hours fighting airport security while trying to fly home with her kids. They thought that she had stolen the children from him.
I mean, and how do you prove otherwise unless you have the birth certificate?
That's true. I agree totally.
That would be tough.
So anyway, 7360300
What do you think? Would you change your name?
I would not want to. Well, of course.
I didn't want to.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, it's like your identity your whole life.
It's just tradition, Jill. I mean, the woman is just expected to change her last name. It's tradition.
Clearly. The first time I was married, it was like a month before I turned 30. It took me 6 months to remember to use my married name. And my husband would get all annoyed. I'm like, why don't you change your name after 30 years and see how easy it is to say Daryl Sherman every time?
It's like remembering to put the right date on the check when you write it just after the first of the year.
It's like that's your whole identity, your whole life. It's hard, and but I did it both times, and Tom wanted me to change my name, and I'm fine with it, but it's not easy. It's a pain. People lose track of you.
They do.
I think Amal Clooney, it was smart. First of all, her name's very difficult to spell. Secondly, she might get more clients this way because they'll say, oh, you're married to George Clooney. I have a human rights issue. Although she's very well respected in her own right. So, but still, I'm like, you know what? If that's what she wants to do, good for her.
I know my wife goes by her maiden name and then class.
Oh,
Connie
okay.
Tucker Class.
Class.
Yeah.
Which can be spelled
And
4 or 5 different ways.
She didn't change that because it used to be she used her middle name, but then she dropped that and started using her maiden name. And that was after we'd been married for several years. I can't remember the circumstance. There was something occurred that happened that facilitated her doing that. But I don't remember what it was because
I remember
it
getting
happened before yesterday.
I remember getting really frustrated when I first got married the first time, which ended up not being legal, whatever. But
Yeah,
I
that's
couldn't.
a story in itself.
We've told that a couple times,
You
but I
should
mean,
write a
just
book.
cashing a check. It was all of a sudden there was this big hubbub because I had the married thing, and they said, "Did your husband know?" All of a sudden I was like, "What?" I said, I make my own money. I was my own person. Okay,
Yeah.
I got married a week ago. I have to ask my husband now to cash the check. It was back in Toledo, Ohio. It was so frustrating. I was quite annoyed. Because you're used to being independent, making your own money,
Sure.
especially when you get married around 30.
Yeah.
You're pretty much, you're not 21 and you haven't really developed a career yet. And
I don't know if, and while we're waiting to take calls, I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
But we have these German dinner and entertainment tickets for the Oktoberfest tonight.
What time?
So it'll go from 4:30 until 8 o'clock, sponsored by the Kiwanis Club.
They love this. They
And,
love doing this. Have you gone before?
I have not. No, but Benito, he was on yesterday. He's gone several times.
Oh,
Said it's
good.
really, really good. And we had Ray Parrish in here yesterday talking about it too. So we got these tickets. If you want one,
I'm glad you got 'em on.
736-0300 and give us your name, and we'll keep them for you here.
That's right. You got till what you got?
Got until 10 o'clock.
So you start dialing it if you want. What are they going to have? German food? They have like.
Yeah, they have bratwurst and sauerkraut. And it's not like the sauerkraut that you get in
Out of
the
a
can
jar.
or a jar at the store.
They make it homemade.
This is homemade. Ray Parrish said he went to Germany specifically to find this recipe. And then when he
speaks
found
fluent German.
Yeah, he does. And then, well,
Yeah.
I was in German class with him in high school. See?
How come
So-
he speaks fluent and you don't? What happened with the two?
I don't know. I
students
guess
here?
he continued on with it, and I did not. But he visits Germany every once in a while.
Well, good
But
for
anyway,
him.
he brought this recipe back from Germany, and he says it's delicious.
Yeah,
So-
and they have German music, right?
Yeah, they do the
They're
whole
gonna
thing.
have
He
German
even
beer?
came in costume. He had his.
He did?
What do you call it, lederhosen on? or
Later, I was
whatever?
in. How did I miss this? I was on vacation.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, that's nice. Well, you know what? You got to support Kiwanis. They do great things, just like Rotary does. All the service clubs do such wonderful things for the community.
Yeah.
How much are tickets?
$8 for adults, $6 for seniors before 6 o'clock.
Yeah, early bird special.
$25 for a family, $75 for corporate, and $100 for an event sponsor. But by this point in time, you're probably just concerned about the $8
So
for
save
adults or
yourself
$6 for
$8.
seniors.
Save yourself $16.
yeah.
My gosh.
Oh, yeah.
Call in 736-0300 if you want some tickets.
Almost talked into going myself.
Or if you want to change your name.
Yeah.
I'm going to change my name.
That's right. And it's
Again.
time now for the Huckabee Report, and it's brought to you this morning by Waddell & Reed. You can hear the Huckabee Report each weekday at this time, brought to you exclusively by Waddell & Reed. Laura Nelson, Josh Funk, and Steve Stanger are the financial advisors, and the number to call is 736-6563. Well, the irrigation season is winding down now for the season, but that doesn't mean you can't plan for next season already with the folks at Far More of Idaho. No more moving pipe, no more borders to spray, no more expensive labor to move the pipe in and out of the field, no more delays and having to move the pipe before you can get the pipe out of the field and get your equipment in the field and start doing the work. It's what's called Certiset. And you can ask them about it at Far More of Idaho. They are much more informed on this than I. But it's the latest in technology. You don't have to move the pipe because the equipment does that for you. Give them a call at 324-3341 or at farmoreofidaho.com, and they will be happy to tell you about Certiset. It's not a new bed. It is a new way of irrigating. All right?
I know it sounds a little confusing, but that's
does.
okay.
We have a caller. I wonder if they're calling for a ticket. Top story.
I
Good
hope
morning.
so.
Good morning. How are you today?
Doing
Great. How
fine.
are you?
Welcome back, Joe.
Thank you.
Are you calling for a ticket?
Well, I am. And I was listening on Radio Pop, which when I started calling you the first time, of course, that gets rid of Radio Pop. So I didn't hear whether or not you already got rid of those.
No, we still have some.
We still have some. What's your first name?
Leah.
Leah? I will put Leah's name on 2 of these tickets.
Do you need 2, Leah? Any chance of getting 3?
Boy, you're pushing it now. Okay.
Pretty please with sugar on top?
Okay.
Only because Kelly's retiring. He's going to do this.
What are they going to do? Fire me?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I got 3 tickets with your name on it. And they'll be here. You can pick them up today.
And Leah, we want to know how it is tomorrow. Call us and let us know if you had fun.
I will.
Okay,
right.
Leah, have a great time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Care.
Bye now.
Thanks for listening.
I think we may have another one here.
Quick.
Top story, good morning. You calling for the tickets?
Yes, I am, I only need 1.
All right, well,
what's
good.
What's your name?
Joe.
Okay, Joe. I'm going to write Joe on the back of this 1 ticket here, and you can stop by and pick it up today. How's that?
Oh, all right, thank you very much. Welcome back, Jill. Good to hear your voice.
Well, thanks, Joe. I appreciate it. It's good to be back.
All right, thank you. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it. Have fun tonight.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I tell you what, I got like 1 more ticket here.
Quick, someone call. We'll take it during the break if we go to Huckabee.
That's right. And
or if we go to break.
Yeah, we're leaving now, Jill.
I know, but you can still answer the phone.
Yeah.
If we go to the news, quick, call.
All right. So we got to go tomorrow. We've got school superintendent Wiley Dobbs with us, and the cops.
And the cops. We do have Wiley. He was going to talk about slashing all the help. Remember? That happened a couple weeks. I was like, what is he talking about? We just had him.
So that'll be tomorrow here on Top Story. Goodbye, Jill.
Bye, Cal.